Hello all, Jamie Rodgers here from Creative Expressions, and today we're going to be looking at making some beautiful flowers out of my brand new Rose Blossoms die set. Now, if you haven't seen the introductory video to the Everlasting collection, you might wish to check that out as well, because I show you all of the different dies, stencils, paper pads in that release, and we talk a little bit about this one as well, and I'll show you quite a few different samples to it. But basically we've got 11 dies in here, and this is a flower that you can use in many ways. You can make some really simple, beautiful flowers out of just keeping it as a flat die cut or shaping them as you would normally. You've also got some matching foliage and styles to go in there as well, or we can make some really lovely 3D roses from it. Now, this is what I love. It's about your ability or your time or your desire and how long you've got to create your project, to whether you wish to just use these as flat flowers or build them up or do a mixture of both. You know, there's no right or wrong, but instead of just bringing you a die set the way you can only do one style of flower, to me it's quite important that this one gives you the ability to really go to town or cut back and keep it quite simple depending on what you'd like to do. And with that in mind, I'm going to share with you this card with some big 3D roses on here, which I've gone across the edge with some enchanted gold gilded touch, just to give them a little bit of texture and definition. Or you could do something simple like this, which is what I mean about easy, and just die cut from gold mirror card, use a bone folder, round your petals, and then glue them together. Very simple, very elegant, very different when we compare the two. And to me, this is quite good because it's showing value for money wise, how you've got two completely different styles from one set of dies. So a couple more cards just to share with you different effects we can create, different styles of flowers we can make. This one here, I believe this one's done by our lovely Diane Williams from our design team at Creative Expressions. And again, showing you how you could just pinch up your petals to give that a different style. You've probably seen my flower forming video. If you haven't, check that one out, where I show you how you can go across the edges of your petals using things like tweezers, and we can crinkle them. Let's do that with one of these just quickly, where we go across the edge and we literally crinkle it, and we do that on all of the levels, and we end up with this sort of decollage fluty edge to them. You can also take your petals and you can pinch them round tweezers, going up or going down. And we can, of course, shape them using embossing tools on mats and different bits. You will also see with this one, we've got quite debossed like veins on the petals. So if you want to highlight in those with a pen, or you wish to highlight over the top with inks and polishes, you can, of course, do that as well. So this really is one of them flowers that you're going to use a million times in a million different ways. But today I thought I would share with you how to make a rose, because I think that's quite important and ever so easy to do. So we're going to be using the paper pad for this, and you don't have to use the paper pad by a long shot, but it is a lovely paper pad, and one of the good bits about it is double-sided. So every single tone has got a matching tone on the other side of it. So when we're making 3D elements with it, we don't have to worry about there being a harsh whiteness or a different tone. Everything is going to coordinate for you. In here, you have got 24 double-sided pages. They're 8 by 8, and you get 4 sheets of each colourway. You can see the colours on the front here, but if I give you a little flick through, you can see that everything's going to work for you. You've got pinks, you've got the greens, which is great because we've got those for the foliage, and you've also got these beautiful teals. This is the third in my collection of vintage textures, and this is the Candy Clouds paper pad. Now, being honest with you, when these sell out, we do not renew them. So if you like the look of this one, grab it before it goes, because it won't be back. The previous two are not coming back. This is the only vintage textures paper pad available at the moment. Grab it while we've got it. So then, on to the dies. We have our dies. We've got our flower heads. We've got our different leaves and foliage and bits, but really I always think it's about the two extremes, how we can go from the smallest to the largest. Now, you can make this same style of rose out of whichever size you wish to. You can bring in any of the ones in the middle. You can yo-yo and put in different levels with each one. There is a million ways in which you can make a flower or make this rose, and it's up to you to find your unique way of doing them. But the way I like to do them is just picking one size and cutting 5 or 6 of that layer and building with that one size. If you feel you want to bring in step down layers and put those in the middle, or use these as bigger casings around the smaller roses, then absolutely you can do that. I'm going to be honest with you, when I was designing this die set, I watched a lot of different rose tutorial videos, not only with dies, but with punches and different bits and bobs. And I really did pick between everything I could see to bring you the style that I felt was the easiest to work with and find the way I wanted to make them. But whether you wish to follow my instruction or watch a couple of other videos, get a few ideas and go with them in your own style, it's completely, of course, up to you. So I have gone for the largest of the flowers because I'm hoping with my chunky, short, fat fingers, you're going to still see the petals. If I do the small one, I know what I'm doing, but it might be quite tricky for you to see it under my hands. So we're going to start off by taking the first 3 of the cuts. Now I've cut just a few extra just in case we need them at any stage. Now what we're going to do for the first 2 is we're going to take a pair of scissors and we're going to cut off every single petal. Now if I was you, I would be sat at home thinking, well, why did he give us that big flower die and not give us 5 individual petals? Well, there's a good reason to that. If we cut off our own petals, as you can see, it's quite easy to do, but it also means that we have that solid base. And that solid base, if we was to give you the solid base and each of the different petals for every size flower, the die set would end up huge and hugely expensive. By giving it to you in this format and letting you snip off the petals you want means that you've got all individual designs because each petal's slightly different, and it means that you don't have to spend a fortune on them, and it means that you've got these bases which will come in handy for the bottoms of the flowers shortly, and it means that you can do different styles of flowers if you don't want to make a rose. So there was a lot of thought going to this and a lot of reasoning to why I've done it and the way I've done it. So we've done our first 2 flowers and we've got our petals ready and we're going to pop them to one side. These are the bits from the middle. We don't need them. They are rubbish. The next one, or our 3rd layer, this is optional. This is something I've only just started doing. I sort of keep adding and tweaking what I'm doing as I'm making them to make them, in my mind, better and better. But I'm going to take 1 petal and I'm going to snip it out. I don't really need this petal. It's about when we get onto the next part of building the flower that we've got that stage with 1 less petal so it's not too repetitive when we come to build up the flowers. But while we're snipping, it's good for you to know. And you might want to add this petal in. So we're going to trim it down so it's the same sort of length as the others. And we've got that one ready. We're then going to bring in a paintbrush. And we're going to start taking our petals. And we're going to take the very first one and we're going to wrap that around and around the paintbrush. It doesn't have to be a paintbrush by a long shot, but we're going to wrap it around and around and we're going to make that into a small little coil. Now, once you've got to the stage that you're happy with that, you can remove the paintbrush, you can give it a little roll between your fingers, and it's all about the coil that we're aiming for, that little sort of springy bit. When you're happy with it, we're going to take some of our Cosmic Shimmer Dry's clear glue. That one's a brand new one, so we don't want that one. Let's go for this tube. I wondered why I'd got 2. That's why. Let's see, are we set off? Oh, we're set off. Brilliant. So we're going to take a little bit of glue and we're going to put that on the inside here of there. And we're going to wrap that one round to make our middle to our flower. Now, depending on whose tutorials you're watching and depending on what size flower you're doing, you might wish to trim off a little bit at the bottom so it's not too prominent, not too big in the middle of your flower. I don't tend to bother, but if I want to highlight that there are other ways to do it, so if you'd prefer to sort of tweak and change, then feel free. With the rest of the petals, we're going to take them and we're going to do exactly the same as we were doing. We're just going to do a few of these and you'll find your own way of doing this. But I tend to start off by curling my first 3 or 4 so that they're ready and that they're ready for the, if I can keep hold of them, so that they're ready for the next stage of what we're going to be doing. And then I'll take my glue and I'm going to put the glue, I'm trying to do this so you can see it, but I'm just going to put it down each side of the petal. And I'm going to do that to the first 3 or 4. And it doesn't have to be exact. I'm using a Dry's clear glue. This is our Cosmic Shimmer glue. So, if there's a little bit seeping, it's not the end of the world. But we're going to put our first 4 off to one side. And I like to let the glue start to set, because of when the glue starts to set, when we come to build it, it's not as runny, it will grab quicker and we can carry on building what we're building. So I'm then going to take the next set of 4, and it's up to you how many you want to add. We'll probably stop at the next 4 because we can always add them on at the end, but we're going to round these 4. And this doesn't have to be exact. You can probably see I'm just sort of picking and rolling at random, but we're then going to take our glue and we're going to do exactly, come back you lot. My table's not level today, so I've got a rolling embossing tool. And then we're going to add on a little bit of glue down these ones as well, just down them sides. And we're going to go down this one as well, trying not to get my fingertip. I don't need to be part of the flower. And then we're going to put these ones over to one side so we don't touch them. And we're going to start off with these 4. So we're going to take the first one and we're going to take the little spinny bit that we did for the middle and we're going to put this on and we're going to roll it round. Now we don't want it to be completely encased as such. I tend to use my tweezers and pull the middle off just to one side and then let that join around the other side. So we've sort of wrapped it up in there so that the tube we created is against one side of it and the edges of the first petal come all the way around to it. And this changes as we go. So if you watch the next one and you think, well, he hasn't done the same, there is a reason. The next one I pick up, I'm going to want that to come out the other side. So I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to place that onto the sides, letting that come down further. So we're going to hold that. We're going to let that middle bit now come back into the middle roughly because this side of the petal's coming out further around that side. And we're going to let that bond. And then we're going to pick up the next one. And this time we're twisting and we're going to add it to the opposite side. So if you like, and I'm never very good at this, I'd never get me places in the right way. But we added the first one onto this side. We added the next one onto this side. And now we're coming on from this side. So we did north, south, west. And then we're going to do east. And it doesn't have to be in that order, but we're just going for different sides at each time. We're then going to bring in the next one and we're going to add that one onto this side. And we're just stepping out as we go. You can just do this with your fingers, just place it where you want it to be and keep stepping out so the flower gets larger. We can then go back, so we've done our first 4 and you might stop there. You might think, well, that's enough, I don't want loads. You know, the middle of my flower's more than happy, but I'm going to carry on building. So I'm going to bring in the next one and we're stepping around to this side and then we're going to twist it. And we can move these back. This is the joy of wet glue. We've got a bit of movement here. So if you put them on and the next one moves or your last one moves or something's not quite where you want it, don't panic. We're then going to take the next one and join that on. And then we're going to go in for our last one that we have got pre-glued, being our, what was that, 9th one, I think? 9th petal to the party. And we're going to place that on there. And then we're going to let that set because we can go off and do the next part to the flower. So I'm going to try and hold this so you can see it. Hopefully you can see what I've created there. But we've got our first sort of bit to the rose ready made. So we're going to let that set. We're going to leave that off to one side. It doesn't matter where we pop it, we'll just pop it down there. Now we still have a couple of petals left. If we want to add these on, we can do. If you want to do more layers, then take another layer, cut them off and add them on. Not a problem. Really do stop when you want to stop. Build it as much as you want to build it. I'm going to bring in a shaping mat for my next layers. So we're going to bring in another 2. So we had 2 we cut down, 1 we've cut a petal off and 2 extras. So it's up to you. Again, you might want to choose to add in more, but this is where I'm going to go. I'm then going to use an embossing tool, just a big ball tool on the reverse here and shape this down. I'm then going to turn it over and we're going to give that a bit of a push down in the centre. And we're going to do exactly the same with the next one. So just round and round on each petal, just giving that a bit of form. Flip it over and do the same. If you wish to shape your petals before building them, you can absolutely do that as well. But I personally have found that when I've shaped them, by the time I've then curled them and stuck them on, you don't really see that difference. But I have seen some people who will shape each piece. So if you prefer, feel free to. But I just found I was wasting my time a little bit. So it's up to you. But again, good to know there are different options, different styles, different ways. So we're then going to take our 3 pieces that we've created and we're going to put some glue into the middle of our first one and we're going to layer in the next one and we're going to offset our petals so that they're not too similar. And then we're going to bring in this one and we're going to really want to make up that gap. We don't want that gap to show. So I'm going to hold it as I put it in so that that V where we snipped into it is closed up and we're down to a 4 petal flower. And we're going to lay that one in there. And hopefully by now you're starting to see the base of this flower come together. We're then going to take our glue again, just trying to stop me ball tool from rolling around. And we're going to add in some more glue to the middle there and we're going to bring in the middle to the flower. Now this should be about set by now. And we're going to take that and we're going to pop it down in the centre. Now I tend to find at this stage that we have 2 different effects. We have got the middle part and then the side bits are slightly flatter, slightly lower. Now you can add in more layers, you can add in different sizes, you can build that up further if you want to. But personally, I find if I leave them to dry, because we've put a big blob of glue in there and we've got a lot of sort of bits that are waiting to dry, so leave it to dry and then just give it a bit of a ruffle. Pick it up, give it a bit of a squidge. Squidge it round, push these bits up, close it all up slightly, and to me, you've got more of a rose style. And you can add in more pieces to this if you want to. As I keep saying, you know, it's up to you. Stop when you want to stop. But let's see if we can, we're really pushing our time a little bit here. We need to let it dry. But if we give that a bit of a ruffle, you can start to see that coming together. If anywhere like here, I can see I've got a couple of petals which are just doubled up. If we can get in there, just open those out and give them a bit of a pull and let that set in a slightly different place before it's set. And it's a good way to just make sure that everything's where you want it to be. And then leave that off to one side. So here are a few I've done before. I'm going to lift these up because I want you to see them, as in the sizes, because we're going to go through all of the different sizes that we have available within the set. There's 6 different flower head sizes, which means we can make 6 different size flowers. If we do like I just did, sticking to one size. Even the smallest, dinkiest ones are done in exactly the same way. And I promise you, and I genuinely mean this, if you've sat there and watched that and thought, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can be bothered. I don't know if I'm going to get the knack of that. I'm now sitting making these in front of the TV. Because of the more you do of them, it's like everything. It's like when we brought out the tea bag folding collection, you just get used to doing them. You get used to feeling with your fingers where the folds are going to go, where the rounding's going to go, where you're going to build up from, what you're going to do with it. And suddenly you can just do it with your eyes closed and form these flowers to make these most beautiful little displays. Now within the paper pad, obviously, we had them lovely green shades as well. So maybe you want to go ahead and do your die cutting for your foliage and your leaves out of that beautiful green. And if you do, this is the green being cut to create some of these little sort of spray pieces and leaves. With the leaves or the each piece of them, if I've got a bit of time, I like to again take my paintbrush and just roll down each of those petals just to give them, or leaves, I should say, they're not petals now, are they? But leaves, just to give them a bit of curl and a little bit of texture. We've made these beautiful big flowers. I don't want the foliage to look too flat. With the leaves themselves, these ones have crease lines down the middle. So if you'd like to, or little like debossed lines, veins as such on each one, hopefully you can see them. So if you do want to give them a little pinch, they will form up quite nicely. And you can start to see how quickly you can build just a few flower heads into quite a lovely display just by working between the different papers. Now, I hope this all made sense to you, and I'm sure it hopefully did if I didn't ramble off in too many different directions and wattle on about something that didn't. But if you do have any questions, by the way, that is highly likely. If you do have any questions, then of course, pop them in the comments and I will do my very best to answer them for you. But as you can see, I've got lots of flowers to go and create with because I've been doing this on my tray, watching the telly, and I've got different pink ones that I'm going to be making cards with. I've got the blue ones that you can see that I've just laid out down there. But I've got all of these ready built from just sitting in front of the TV a couple of nights ago that I want to go pop onto some cards. Just before I go, actually, another style of flower with these, and we did sort of highlight it earlier, but I've got these ones ready made, so it'd be nice to show you, is just by shaping your petals. You know how we did on the foam mat a minute ago when we brought in the mat and we just took the flower and we turned it over and we shaped it. By doing this, I tend to do it with a big ball tool, and then I will go back in with a slightly smaller ball tool so that I get more creases around each of the end of the petals because I really want that texture. And if you do this and you just carry on doing this to each of your layers and then building them up, so you can see all them creases that we've created on this one, all that sort of texture. Then if you take those and you build them up, they're the styles of flowers you're going to be able to create with those pieces. So they're a lot quicker than the roses, but again, give you quite a lovely set of dimension. So just to recap, just in case I forgot to mention it, This is the flower we've been using. This is Rose Blossoms. It's my design, which is Jamie Rodgers. It's available through Creative Expressions. And if you're looking for it online, you want CED JR116. It's part of the Everlasting Love collection. It was released on the 14th of November 2023. So if you're seeing this video later on and you want to track it down, it will now be available at all Creative Expressions stockists worldwide. So just ask your favourite and I'm sure they'll be able to order it for you if they haven't already got it. Your paper pad, as I mentioned, was the Candy Clouds paper pad, but this is in theory sort of limited because of when they're gone, they're gone. So if you're watching this video relatively recent to when it's been released, you'll hopefully still be able to get your hands on one, but don't dilly-dally if you like the look of that one, because as I say, when they're sold out of Creative Expressions, we only do one print run of them or one release of them, so don't miss out. Again, if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me in the comments. I'm here to help and answer them if I can do. Thank you very much for watching today. And if you do make some of these beautiful flowers, make sure you tag me in your posts or share them with me on Jamie Rodgers Crafts, because I would absolutely love to see them. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.